We all love a good meal, but foodborne illness? Not so much. Food poisoning can ruin your day, or even your week, with symptoms like nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. In some cases, it can even lead to serious health complications. That's why food safety is so important. By following a few simple practices, we can greatly reduce the risk of foodborne illness and keep ourselves and our loved ones healthy. From the moment we buy our groceries to the time we sit down to eat, every step in the food handling process matters. Proper food safety practices ensure that our food remains safe to eat and doesn't become a breeding ground for harmful bacteria. These practices include everything from storing food at the correct temperatures to cooking it thoroughly and practicing good personal hygiene. Think of it like this. Every time you handle food, you're a link in the chain of food safety. If one link breaks, the whole chain is compromised. But by following proper procedures and being mindful of potential risks, we can keep that chain strong and ensure that our food is safe from farm to fork. So, let's dive into the key principles of food safety and equip ourselves with the knowledge to cook and eat with confidence. Imagine this. You've spent hours preparing a delicious meal for your family. The aroma fills the air, making everyone's mouths water. But what you don't realize is that you've unknowingly left the food out at room temperature for too long, allowing bacteria to multiply rapidly. This is what we call time temperature abuse. The danger zone for food is between 41 degrees Fahrenheit, 5 degrees Celsius, and 135 degrees Fahrenheit, 57 degrees Celsius. Within this temperature range, bacteria can double in number in as little as 20 minutes. That's why it's crucial to keep hot foods hot and cold foods cold. Never leave perishable foods out at room temperature for more than 2 hours. This includes cooked meats, poultry, seafood, eggs, dairy products, and cut fruits and vegetables. To avoid time temperature abuse, refrigerate leftovers promptly in shallow containers to allow for quicker cooling. When reheating, make sure the food reaches an internal temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit, 74 degrees Celsius, to kill any potential bacteria. And when transporting food, use insulated containers or coolers with ice packs to maintain safe temperatures. Handling food safely involves a series of steps, starting from the moment you pick up your groceries. When shopping, choose perishable foods last and ensure they're properly refrigerated at the store. Once home, refrigerate or freeze these items immediately. When preparing food, always wash your hands thoroughly with soap and water for at least 20 seconds before and after handling raw meat, poultry, seafood, or eggs. These raw animal products can harbor harmful bacteria that can easily spread to other foods or surfaces. Use separate cutting boards and utensils for raw meat and produce to prevent cross-contamination. If you don't have multiple cutting boards, wash them thoroughly with hot, soapy water between uses. And remember, always marinate foods in the refrigerator, not on the counter. Imagine this. You're preparing a chicken stir-fry. You carefully cut the raw chicken on your cutting board, then use the same board to chop your vegetables. Without realizing it, you've just cross-contaminated your vegetables with potentially harmful bacteria from the raw chicken. Cross-contamination is the transfer of harmful bacteria from one food or surface to another. It's a common cause of foodborne illness, but fortunately, it's also easily preventable. The key is to keep raw meat, poultry, seafood, and eggs separate from ready-to-eat foods at all times. Ready-to-eat foods are stored at the top of the fridge, away from raw foods, so that harmful bacteria cannot transfer from the raw food to the cooked food. In addition to using separate cutting boards, wash your hands, utensils, and surfaces thoroughly with hot, soapy water after contact with raw animal products. Store raw meat, poultry, and seafood in the refrigerator or walk-in cooler in the following top-to-bottom order: seafood, whole cuts of beef and pork, ground meat and ground fish, whole and ground poultry. And when transporting raw meats, Keep them in sealed containers or bags to avoid leaks. Section 5. Hand washing. Your first line of defense. Remember those wash your hands lectures you got as a kid? Well, they were right. Hand washing is the single most effective way to prevent the spread of germs, including those that cause foodborne illness. Think of all the things you touch throughout the day. Your phone, doorknobs, money, even your own face. Now imagine transferring those germs to your food. Not appetizing, right? That's why it's crucial to wash your hands thoroughly and often, especially when handling food. Use warm water and soap, and lather for at least 20 seconds, scrubbing all surfaces, including the backs of your hands, between your fingers, and under your nails. If soap and water aren't readily available, use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol. Section 6. Glove up. When and how to use gloves. While hand washing is essential, sometimes it's not enough. Gloves provide an extra layer of protection, especially when handling ready-to-eat foods like salads, sandwiches, or cooked meats. Think of gloves as a barrier between your hands and the food. They prevent the transfer of germs from your hands to the food, reducing the risk of contamination. But remember, gloves are not a substitute for proper hand washing. Always wash your hands before putting on gloves and again after removing them. Change gloves frequently, especially if they become torn or contaminated, and after handling raw meat, poultry, seafood, or eggs. Never wash or reuse disposable gloves. Discard them after each use. Section 7. Thawing. Safely defrosting your food. Thawing food may seem straightforward, but there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. Thawing food on the counter at room temperature is a big no-no, as it allows bacteria to multiply rapidly in the danger zone. The safest ways to thaw food are in the cooler at 41 degrees or lower, in cold water below 70 degrees, in the microwave if the food is to be cooked immediately, or as part of the cooking process. Thawing in the cooler is the slowest method but allows for more flexibility, as you can leave the food to thaw overnight or for several hours. Just make sure to place the food in a container to catch any drips. Thawing in cold water is faster, but you'll need to use running water that's below 70 degrees Fahrenheit to ensure it stays cold. Submerge the food in a leak-proof bag or container, and never use warm or hot water, as this can promote bacterial growth. Microwave thawing is the fastest method, but it's important to cook the food immediately afterward, as some areas may become warm enough to encourage bacterial growth. Thawing as part of the cooking process, like cooking a frozen hamburger patty, is also a safe method. According to the food code, ensure meats are cooked to the appropriate internal temperatures, 145 degrees for whole cuts of beef, pork, veal, and lamb, 160 degrees for ground meats, and 165 degrees for all poultry. Section 8. Cooking temperatures, hitting the right numbers. Cooking food to the proper internal temperature is crucial for killing harmful bacteria that can cause foodborne illness. Different foods require different cooking temperatures to ensure safety. Invest in a food thermometer and use it to check the internal temperature of your food. Insert the thermometer into the thickest part of the meat, avoiding bones or fatty areas. Poultry should be cooked to 165 degrees Fahrenheit, 74 degrees Celsius. Ground meats to 160 degrees Fahrenheit, 71 degrees Celsius. And beef, pork, lamb, and veal steaks, chops, and roasts to 145 degrees Fahrenheit, 63 degrees Celsius. Remember that even if food looks cooked on the outside, it may not be cooked through to the center. Using a food thermometer is the only way to ensure that your food has reached a safe internal temperature and is safe to eat. Section 9. Leftovers. Storing and reheating safely. Leftovers can be a great way to save time and money, but only if they're stored and reheated properly. The key is to cool and refrigerate leftovers promptly to prevent bacterial growth. Within 2 hours of cooking, refrigerate leftovers in shallow containers to allow for quicker cooling. Don't leave leftovers out at room temperature for more than 2 hours, as this can encourage bacterial growth. When reheating leftovers, make sure they reach an internal temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit, 74 degrees Celsius, to kill any potential bacteria. Leftovers can be stored in the refrigerator for 3 to 4 days, or frozen for longer storage. Just remember to thaw frozen leftovers in the refrigerator or microwave before reheating. Section 10. Common mistakes. Don't fall into these traps. Even with the best intentions, it's easy to make mistakes when it comes to food safety. Here are a few common pitfalls to avoid. Washing raw chicken or meat. Washing poultry or meat under running water can actually spread bacteria to your sink and surrounding areas. Cooking it thoroughly to the proper temperature is the best way to eliminate harmful bacteria. Tasting food to see if it's still good. You can't taste or smell bacteria. If in doubt, throw it out. It's better to be safe than sorry. Using the same plate for raw meat and cooked food. Always use separate plates for raw meat and cooked food to prevent cross-contamination. Undercooking food. Use a food thermometer to ensure that food is cooked to the proper internal temperature. Leaving food out at room temperature for too long. Refrigerate perishable foods within 2 hours of cooking or purchasing. By being aware of these common mistakes, we can avoid them and practice safer food handling habits. Section 11. Food safety. Your responsibility. Everyone's health. Food safety is not just the responsibility of chefs and food handlers. It's everyone's responsibility. By following these essential tips, we can all do our part to prevent foodborne illness and protect ourselves and our loved ones. Remember, food safety is not about being paranoid. It's about being informed and taking simple precautions to protect our health. From understanding time-temperature abuse to practicing proper hand washing and safe food handling techniques, every step we take makes a difference. So let's cook with confidence, eat without worry, and enjoy the pleasure of food without the fear of foodborne illness. After all, food should bring us together, not make us sick. This video was created by Mitch's Digital Downloads, 2024. We hope you found this guide to food safety helpful and informative. Remember, staying informed and taking small actions can make a big difference in ensuring the health and well-being of everyone. Thank you for watching and taking the time to learn about these essential practices. Stay safe and eat well.